What's going on, Diablo 2 fans? It's been a minute, hasn't it? Well, I guess technically it's actually been more like a year and a half since I posted anything Diablo 2 related on my YouTube channel. And I will definitely cover why I've been gone for so long in today's video. But more importantly, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm back and I'm streaming Diablo 2 again, 2 to 3 days a week on Twitch, and I plan on being a lot more consistent with my YouTube uploads. And a quick reminder, as always, before I jump into this video, timestamps are in the description below, so feel free to use them to navigate between certain sections of the video. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. Where have I been for the past year and a half? And why haven't I posted any videos? The honest answer is I completely burnt out on Diablo 2 and I lost any interest that I had in Diablo 4. Combine that with a job promotion IRL, I just decided to take a break from content creation. And at times, if I'm being honest, negative feedback, in particular YouTube comments, got to me. I spent a lot of time going down the rabbit hole of reading negative comments that I shouldn't have. But it's not all doom and gloom, guys. This break has really helped re-energize my drive for content creation. And in addition to that, a new Diablo 2 Resurrected mod has got my Theorycraft mind spinning like crazy again, and that mod is the Diablo 2 Reimagined mod. So the D2R Reimagined mod is probably the reason why you clicked on this video. Like the title says, this mod is the reason why I came back to Diablo 2. So I want to at least give the mod justice and spend the remainder of the video giving you guys a brief overview of everything that has changed, because they have changed a lot, but at the same time, it still manages, in my opinion, to feel a lot like original D2R. And that's what I think is so great about this mod. Okay, so a quick overview of everything that's been changed so far. The Diablo 2 Resurrected mod, it's a single player mod that buffs underutilized skills, doesn't nerf meta, buffs mercenaries, and adds a ton of quality life features that Diablo 2 desperately needs. They added 910 new Heraldric Cube recipes, massively expanded upon itemization, including adding new affixes that spawn in rare items, and they added 1,357 new uniques, 170 new rune words, and 99 new sets. I know, that is a lot to take in. There is honestly a lot of possibilities with this mod and too much to cover in a single video, but I do want to show you guys some of the changes so I can at least help you guys conceptualize what I'm talking about. So let's start off with some of the quality of life, stuff that I've been screaming for. The stash and cube are a lot bigger. You can now stack runes, you can cube runes down, you can carry gems in a gem bag, and the game comes with a base loot filter built into it. Something that I've been begging the devs to add to this game for the time period that they were actually making updates to it. So touching on quality of life changes, this is something that I think the base game of Diablo 2 Resurrected desperately needs so much. It's one of the reasons why I quit playing the base game, because stuff like not having a loot filter was driving me insane. But some of the obvious stuff, and I'm probably going to miss some in this video, but you can see that the stash tabs are massively expanded, the Heraldric Cube is massively expanded, runes are number coded and then also color coded depending on rarity, they're stackable, there's these really cool units down here that are called grabbers. I'll show how those work shortly. There's a gem bag. They changed how you add sockets to items, so jewels are a lot more rare now, but they kind of act like a currency, if that makes sense. So if anyone's played Path of Exile, the same way that fusing orbs and chromatic orbs can change the links between sockets and the color of those sockets, you now use gems to add numbers of sockets to your items. So I'm going to show how that works quickly. But here's the cube, massively enlarging cube. This is a matriarchal bow with 2 bow and crossbow skills. So I would like to roll insight in it. So I put this bow in the cube. So normally a 1 open socket bow would be completely useless. That's why I sort of wanted to showcase in this section here. Normally this is entirely useless. But if I take my currency, which is my 4 jewels, cube it, this makes 4 open sockets. So I can now roll insight in this bow if I wanted to. Now the really cool thing here is the gem bag. So if you look at the gem bag, it shows 16 credits for a perfect gem, 8 credits for flawless gem, 4 credits for standard gem, 2 for flawed, 1 for chipped. You can see that I have 255 credits for all the different gems in this gem bag. Now if I take a grabber, let's say I want to roll some caster amulets, I have a bunch of perfect amethysts in here, I cube it with the grabber, and it pulls out a perfect amethyst for me. Let's say I want to put the perfect amethyst back in, I move the grabber out, and I cube it, and then it's back in there again. So there's no more like stacking up pages and pages to make crafting, to craft caster amethysts, excuse me. You can now use your gem bag and your gem grabbers. They actually have also implemented the same thing for Terra key, or sorry, for Uber keys. I just haven't found anything other than Terra keys, but here I have 2. You can actually cube one of each of these keys together. You can make a key bag, and then you can use key grabbers to pull out keys. So just think of original LOD and having like pages of different keys taking up space and mules and joining in and out of games and just dropping keys, when you can just have a bag like this that's a key bag where you can stack a ton of keys and then just farm Ubers. So I don't know, just massive quality of life in spades. And then the final thing, loot filter, it's shortened item names. So you can see on the ground there, superior potion or super potion, excuse me, is now SAP. And then say if I was to drop a job rune, you're not going to miss it because the big beam of light. And for those that don't know, this beam of light, I'm almost positive, is taken from when you go into the Tower's tomb to fight Duriel. Like I'm almost positive that's where it's from. But you get the point. You can't miss stuff because there's a loot filter. And I don't think I can play Diablo 2 Resurrected again without a loot filter. So it's just a huge like addition to the quality of life in this game. So in terms of character balancing, an in-game menu actually shows off all of the changes that have been made. Now I've only actually tested the druid so far in this mod, so I can't really comment on all the other characters, but I will say from a brief overview of what they changed, it's definitely aimed at bringing up underutilized skills like a summon druid, making it a bit stronger, and not really nerfing meta like leaving everybody's favorite Hammered In alone. So touching on character balancing for the Diablo 2 Reimagined mod, like I mentioned earlier, none of the meta builds have been touched and only underutilized skills have been buffed. So that's kind of probably apparent, I would think, looking at this summon druid. I have way more summons that you can have in regular D2R. So I have 10 spirit wolves instead of 5, 7 dire wolves instead of 3, and those dire wolves now have splash damage, 2 bears instead of 1, and those bears have splash damage, ravens, whatever, and then I can have up to 3 spirits at the same time. So I think most builds will probably just use Oak Sage and Heart of the Wolverine. I don't really think the damage reflection from Spirit of Barbs is very desirable, but I just thought it was cool to show you guys the insane amount of summons that you can have active at one time. Now, if you actually pull open the character balancing tab, you can look at all of the notable changes across the classes. So Amazon, nothing; Assassin, minor trap changes; Sorceress, nothing; Paladin, nothing. But the Barbarian, Druid, and Necromancer receive the most changes. So the Necromancer is mostly focused on improving summons. So more summons, more damage from the summons. You can have multiple golems, including 2 of the same type. You can have all 4 golems active at the same time. Druid, we discussed already. And then the Barbarian, just completely reworked, but one really cool, and it'll read for you. Melee Mastery now gives bonus damage to all melee weapons. So you're not really forced to choose between like Axe Mastery or Sword Mastery or Spear Mastery or whatever. You can just pick Melee Mastery, and that applies to all weapon classes. So just small, minor improvements across the board to keep the meta stuff existent, but then also bring up kind of the F tier builds, if that makes sense. Now, the Mercenaries is probably what I find the most exciting. They have additional equipment slots, and they've had their damage buffed, and their AI is more aggressive. So my current Act 1 Rogue Mercenary, which is like I'm in hell difficulty, I've beaten the game. Why am I using an Act 1 Rogue? Because it's actually more viable. So just going over equipment quickly, I have a Harmony and a Matriarchal Bow for the Vigor, so I can run around faster, Cure and a helmet, a Hemo Curio for the amulet. Not very exciting, but just wanted to show it off. Dual Res Boots. This is a new set item, so this is a dual leech, plus life, plus mana ring. So it's kind of what I think is cool is with an additional ring slot, I can get a sort of life leech, and I'm not forced to use Tal's Mask or Endara's Visage or V-Gaze or all the standard, items. Just allows me a little bit of versatility. And then look at the belt. Increased attack speed, deadly strike, melee mastery is for Barb, but it works for this character, and hit blinds targets. So she's freezing stuff with freezing arrow, she's blinding targets, give me a vigor aura, give me a vigor aura from Harmony, give me a cleansing aura from Cure. And then this is an example of new affixes that can roll on rare items. So you can roll 1 to 3 of any of the paladin skills onto body armor. It's relatively rare, but this is a level 3 conviction aura, so this gives my fire druid negative 40 res across the board against enemy monsters. So kind of a cool combination of stacking auras and just having an Act 1 Rogue Mercenary actually be viable, I think is pretty freaking cool. And like I already mentioned, this mod adds freaking 1,500 new items to choose from. And I'll link the mod's website below so you guys can peruse through all of the new items, but I will post-edit and show some of the cool items that I've found so far in this mod. These new items range everything from really cool pieces of leveling gear all the way through to endgame alternatives that provide players with choices outside of the meta like Shaco. And that's just what I find the most exciting about this mod. So here's a few of the new items that I found. So I tried to pick a spread of like more powerful stuff and sort of entry level gear, as well as like rune words and set items and whatnot, because there's just, like I mentioned, like over 1,500 new combinations of items. So there's just way too much to show in a single video. But just for example, here's this one, Crown of Thorns. This is really cool. It gives 15% chance to cast Cyclone Armor and 10% chance to cast Frozen Armor when struck. You know, Thorns Aura, Barb skills, some res, but just like kind of cross hybridization of skills, like having a Barb proc a Sorcerer's Shiver Armor, I think is really cool. Here's a set ring, 1 skills, enhanced damage, life after kill, a little bit of experience gain, and reduced vendor prices. So they've added a lot of different affixes that don't normally spawn items. So reduced vendor prices is more prevalent in items, experience gained. I think there's like life after demon kill, there's magic resistance, like a ton of stuff. And just the combinations, it's literally limitless. Here's an example of a really cool melee helmet. So let's be honest, almost every melee build uses G-Face. There's a couple exceptions, like maybe Ariad's face on a barbarian, or maybe like Jalal's on a druid. But here's something that I think rivals G-Face. 3 to shapeshifting skills, faster run walk, deadly strike, and freezes target. That is a really cool melee focused shapeshifting, like unique. Like I just think that's really cool. Here's a low level necro helmet. So a necro skill, fast trade recovery, faster block rate, life, dual res, so require level 20. Here is an example of a low level rumor that I rolled. So this was in a 1 volcano druid pelt base, but Am and Ith for 1 to druid skills, FCR, attributes, mana, all res. Just thought it was something pretty powerful. Here's a low end set item, like level 21, just 20 all res and enhanced defense. Here's the current shield that I'm using. So this is Fortune, Fal, and Io. Not as strong as Spirit, but it has Magic Find based on character level and has 180 MF. So I think the focus or intention here with the devs was to allow you to level with Magic Find instead of having like a rhyme shield and having 25 MF and trying to scrap together tiny pieces of Magic Find and then Moat Trick Mephisto, you know, 1,000 times in hell difficulty. Now you can actually, like, a Fallon Isle is not too hard to get, sort of like Midnightmare or something, and then you can progressively level with Magic Find. So I just think that's really cool. And then this was a body armor that I found, 1 to all skills, 3 res, and then I put 4 perfect topaz in it. So I don't know, just a ton of different items to showcase. And when you think of like all these new different combinations of items, like there is, again, check out the link for the website in the description below, but there is a ton of very powerful versions of items like this that I think with just new combinations of being able to equip multiple pieces of gear just really gives you like new limitless possibilities of character customization. And lastly, monster density has been doubled in this mod, and that's not always super evident when you're playing some areas, but you can really tell in places like the Chaos Sanctuary, and that's what I think makes a big difference in this mod. It makes farming Terra Zones a lot more fun in my opinion. Double density, flared jungle is just cool. All kinds of monsters are dying. So that basically covers most of what I wanted to touch on for this overview video at least. And I know that there is probably 100 more things to talk about and stuff that I missed, but at least you guys have a good idea of what the Diablo 2 Reimagined mod is all about. I do have the mod's website, Discord invitation link, Nexus Mods installation page, and the mod creators Patreon page all listed below. Please check them out if you guys are at all interested in this mod. And don't forget to check out my Twitch channel if you haven't already. I'm streaming this mod a lot over there right now, and I'm learning a ton about it. So it's been a really good time, and hopefully I can see you guys over there. Other than that, guys, it's great to be back. I'm looking forward to making a lot more Diablo 2 related content in the future. And I just wanted to say, as always, thank you so much for the support. It means a lot. Peace out.
All I wanted was a touch.